Welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about managing the minimums, okay? So when we think about our minimums, there's a few things we want to consider first. One, what is our goal? Okay, what are we working towards? And what are the minimums associated with that? And we're going to break this down into a couple of different categories. So we're going to start with our exercise minimums, okay? So everybody has a different goal. So if you're a professional athlete, it's going to be different than somebody who's just getting started, which might be different than somebody who's a regular exerciser. And that's important to recognize in the beginning because everybody's minimums are going to be different and unique to the individual. For example, in exercise, my minimums are knowing that I can maintain a full range of motion. So if I'm going to be doing limited exercises or I have a limited amount of time for my exercise, I want to make sure that what I'm doing is I'm working my key movements, push, pull, press, squat, lunge, hinge, and I have a full range of motion with each of them, even if I'm not using any weights. That's for me. For somebody else, they might be doing various stretches or mobility work or certain lifts. They might just be getting steps in, but understanding that minimum for exercises for us as individuals is incredibly important. This is twofold. One, it allows us to stay on track towards our goals, even on the days that we don't really want to do it. The second thing is that we're not going to lose our progress. We could feel good about what we're doing even on those difficult days. So by understanding our minimums, we can ensure that we meet those on the schedules that we've created for ourselves. Now, if we think about diet and exercise, when we start thinking about our nutrition and supportive nutrition and hydration and all these different things, when we think about minimums, it's not every calorie is accounted for, eating perfectly to the goals, all this stuff, right? Our minimums could be things that make us feel good, again, in relation to the goal. So to share a couple of my minimums, I always log my food, even if it's not accurate. I try to get as close as possible. When in doubt, if I'm going to be eating out somewhere, I prioritize protein and vegetables. Those are my two key items on my plate. They could be salty, they could be a little bit greasier than what I would normally eat. And that's totally fine because my minimum is that's where my focus is. Protein and vegetables. Additionally, in regards to eating, if I know I'm going out, I always try to hit my water. So I drink probably about 150 to close to 200 ounces a day for me personally. But I'm on my feet. I get an average of about 25,000 steps a day. There's a lot of movement in my world, so that hydration becomes incredibly important for a variety of reasons. And those are my minimums, okay? When I'm focused on weight or weight management, then I'll introduce weighing myself every morning. Not to obsess, but let's say I just want to start getting familiar with where I'm at. I want to get familiar with the fluctuations. I want to start looking at my average weight. One of the things that allows me to stay on track is when we start looking at our daily feedback, just like logging our food or, creating a plate that has each of our macronutrients or weighing ourselves, it gives us feedback in a variety of different ways. Obviously, the scale is weight or body fat if you're scanning your body, or muscle mass percentage or hydration, which can fluctuate significantly based on the things that we're putting into our body. So if we, wake up one day and we're 3 pounds heavier or 2 pounds lighter overnight, why do we think that is? And then we have additional points that we can look at. But for our awareness, weighing could be very important. Logging food, I don't weigh all the food. I just make sure that I know what I'm putting in. So at the end, I can get a general idea if there's changes and if I'm going in the correct direction or the wrong direction. Hydration, again, is just something that I like to do on a regular basis because I move a lot. If I find my energy starting to go down, I drink more water. And those are pretty much my minimums. Full range of motion for exercise. And then that way I know if there's any restriction in those movements. Hydration throughout the day. Balanced meals, logged as best I can. Protein and vegetables when I eat out. And weigh myself regularly. So when it comes to your minimums, what is it that you want to do? And what is your minimum effective feel like? I was going to say minimum effective dose, but dose presents an outcome. The outcome that we want here is for our feeling, right? We want to make sure that we feel good that we're making the progress that we need to make. So what are those? Is that 3 workouts a week? Is that doing corrective work when you're at home in between workouts? Is that going for steps or dancing or scheduling like a hike with your family once a week or by yourself or with your friends? Is it going for a jog or a run? What are your minimums that you need to hit on a daily basis for yourself? Okay, perhaps it's a weekly basis or a monthly basis, but what are those minimums? That way, when we don't feel like it, when it's tough, when we're feeling a bit lethargic, when there's not a lot of time, we have a plan for what our minimums can be so we can stay on track. And that will go a great distance towards you accomplishing your goals and the way you feel. Let's feel good in the process. So if your minimums and you're just getting started are walking around the block, that's what we have. If it's making sure you have protein with every meal or vegetables with every meal or 1 to 2 pieces of fruit a day, they're perfect. What is it for you? So you know that when you're building and you're doing things on the good days and bad days, you have a plan. So take a moment and think about what your minimums are for you. And if you have questions, get involved. Let's talk minimums. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a great one.